Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel this morning to make sure that the Thursday ceasefire lasts between the Hamas terrorist organization and the Israelis. And joining us now for more on that is the former Chief of Staff of the National Security Council and CIA analyst Fred Fleitz. Fred, good morning. Nice to see you again.
Good morning. Good to be here.
We got a lot to talk about this morning, Fred. When President Biden announced Antony Blinken's trip to the Middle East, Biden said, quote, Blinken will meet with Israeli leaders about the U.S.'s ironclad commitment to Israel's security and will rebuild ties to the Palestinian people and leaders after years of neglect. Now, what's interesting to me is the president seemed to choose his words carefully there, throwing a bone maybe to progressives in his own party who are suddenly very vocal about being anti-Israel. Do you think this is going to be a bigger problem for the administration moving forward, Fred?
Well, there's a lot of issues going on here. Israel obviously wants a close relationship with the U.S., but the Biden administration's relations with the Netanyahu government are very strained. Biden's been in office 4 months, and this is Blinken's first trip to Israel. There's no U.S. ambassador to Israel.
Right.
And this both sidism comments by Biden officials embolden the Palestinians to engage in this violence. I'm glad Biden is making a gesture to engage the Israelis. But, you know, this ceasefire was not Biden's work. This was the work of the Egyptians. I think Biden has to go much further to engage the Israelis. But this, as you said, this comment that was made to appease people on the left in the Democratic Party by Biden, I think is very troubling.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki talked more about this two-state solution yesterday. Take a listen.
We continue to support, of course, a two-state solution, or any negotiations toward a two-state solution. It's something we've raised already, even prior to the conflict of the last 2 weeks with the Israelis and other partners on the ground.
I just think Psaki looks very confused there. I don't think she knows what she's saying, even though she's saying it there. That's just my opinion. But do you think this two-state solution is an actual possibility, or are Israel's allies, like the United States and others in Europe, going to need to play a role in working out a peace deal that is long-lasting?
I don't think we're anywhere near being able to talk about a two-state solution right now. We have to see the ceasefire hold. We have to see passions cool. And this may take years. We're not going to move the Palestinians into negotiations with the Israelis anytime soon. There has to be rebuilding in Gaza, and the rebuilding in Gaza can't strengthen Hamas, which, you know, will send construction equipment, maybe not the U.S., into Gaza, and Hamas will make missiles out of it, and that's a big concern.
Yeah. More than 500 Democratic Party staffers and some alumni, people that worked on the campaign in various states for Joe Biden's 2020 campaign, signed an open letter calling on the president to openly condemn Israel. And we've heard from Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. She called Israel an apartheid government, which is just very bad history. But is this another sign of the divide, the growing divide in the Democratic Party?
It really is. And I might also add that Biden said at a press conference last week, I think, my party still supports Israel. Now, if this was President Trump, he'd say the Republican Party and I are strongly behind the state of Israel. I think my party supports Israel is communicating something that there's something going on within the Democratic Party. It is moving against Israel. There's growing anti-Semitism on the left. It is creeping into the Democratic Party. I don't think Biden is anti-Semitic or anti-Israel, and I don't think Pelosi is, but they're the old guard. And the new members of the Democratic Party, these new activists represented by AOC, they are moving the party in another direction. It's very troubling for this country and for global security.
Yeah, think about it. The first president to recognize Israel was a Democrat, Harry Truman. 25 years later, 1972, Joe Biden is elected to the Senate. So he is certainly old guard. Fred, I just want to ask you about what's going on in Belarus right now. The European Union, I understand, has imposed sanctions on Belarus over the forced landing of a passenger jet there to arrest a journalist, apparently an opposition journalist. What are you hearing about this?
This is really a stunning incident. This plane was flying to Greece to Lithuania, was not supposed to land in Belarus. It was forced to land over some kind of false terrorist warning or bomb warning. It is really a very troubling precedent that a nation would force a plane overflying its territory to land to arrest a dissident with a fake terrorist attack. There have to be severe sanctions against this government, and it looks like the European Union is ready to do that.
All right, that is disturbing stuff. We'll keep an eye on that. Fred Fleitz, always good to have you on. Good to see you. Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.